Thanks for clicking on to the Sunday afternoon edition of Vogan's European Outlook from a rainy Austrian just on the outskirts of Cannes. Crossed over the English Channel just in the last few hours, and open waters. It was a little bit of there was a little bit of swell. I could feel a little bit of emotion within the boat, but nothing particularly significant. But a windy night last night gave way to some swell through the channel, especially once you headed past the Isle of Wight and out into the open water. You start to feel the motion of the boat. But certainly we have got the continuation of unsettled weather. Area of low pressure, fairly deep to the southwest of the UK. That is bringing increased wind and rain across, particularly the southwest of the UK and Ireland. And as that system moves in, it's going to increase wind, it's going to increase the rainfall rate. We're going to see a band of rain pushing northwards during the next couple of days. But ahead of that system, we've got plenty of warm air, temperatures rising over Spain, Portugal, France. We could see temperatures rising in the upper 20s in the south of France over the next few days. But we are going to be flirting between the trough just to the west of the UK out over the Atlantic, ridge of high pressure over Europe, and of course we're drawing our air in from the south-southwest. So plenty of warm temperatures for sure. But you notice here we've got a little surge of colder air comes down into Scandinavia, into the heart of Europe here, but all the while the trough comes south over the central and eastern portion of the continent, we're going to see warmth lifting up into the UK and Ireland here. So a significant spell of warmth, I think, over the latter half of the week into the weekend and beyond that. And then we do have another flirt of chillier conditions coming in from the north across the British Isles, but it looks as if warmth will win the battle, so to speak. Certainly we've got some very significant warmth coming into North America, or should I say cold. But we do have, if you go back to the current setup here, so this is the North American 2-minute temperature anomalies here. Down comes a major shot of Arctic air for the time of year. Northern Plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley, all the way down into Florida, as you can see here. Very significant shot of cold air certainly coming in. And then it is replaced by almost the return of summer-like warmth once again. So we do see this flip between almost winter-like conditions back to warm, almost summer-like conditions, as you can see here. Looking at snow prospects, well, of course, when you've got a fairly mild affair across much of the continent, you're not going to see a great deal of snow away from the typical areas. As we play through this GFS snow depth loop, you can see here literally nothing across the heart of Europe over the next week or so to 10 days, and then eventually at the very end of the loop, you notice here as we move from October into the month of November, we do start to see snow increasing across the east, possibly into Scandinavia as well. But you would expect to see that, of course, at this time of the year. With the trough axis to the west of the UK, we're going to see the wettest conditions south and southwest of the British Isles rather than from the west or northwest. But this is the current setup of the GFS. There's that area of low pressure moving northwards, followed by a secondary system that gets stopped in its tracks. The reason why is we see the area of high pressure over Greenland, high pressure over Europe, linking up, shuts off that system. It will spin away for the next several days, and then eventually, mid to late week, energy will start to move northwards, wind, rain, and of course with the system to the west, our air is getting pulled in from the south, and that is going to be a surge of very, very mild air for the time of the year into the UK, as you can see here. So plenty of disturbed weather still on the cards here. It is a complex pattern, and you can see that these areas of low pressure are essentially trapped beneath high pressure to the north, if you notice here. And it is quite a complex setup here, because depending on where the orientation of the low and the high is, that will dictate what type of air mass we're going to see importing into the British Isles. So while we do see a high likelihood of very mild air getting lifted north into the UK, we may just shift that orientation slightly and allow colder air to come in. So we'll just need to kind of keep an eye on that over the next week or so here. Looking at this is the 500 millibar height anomaly chart, by the way, for the month of November, and it certainly looks as if it's high pressure dominated here. Temperature wise, no surprise that you would expect above normal temperatures here, but watch this space. I'm not necessarily buying into that. Flood of warm air across the continent of Europe. Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. I'm not necessarily saying anything to that, but I'm not necessarily buying into that type of solution here. But precipitation wise is going to be an important one, because you notice here as we go into the month of December, January, February, we increase the rainfall firmly above average rainfall, I think, as we go through the upcoming winter season here. Overall, sea surface temperatures, by the way, look like this here. Not a great deal of change. Some pockets of cooling, North Pacific. Also the Atlantic, we're seeing cooling to the north of the UK. We're seeing a little bit of cooling here east of the east coast of North America. Also, the La Nina continues to go on. The negative IOD looks as if it may be even strengthening further to what we've seen so far. We'll keep an eye on that. But certainly in the next video or two, I will look at the longer range in a bit more detail. Certainly the CFSV2 is not particularly favourable for anything overly exciting winter-wise. This is the month of December. We're flooded by above normal heights across the entire continent. We know that is not going to happen. Then the month of January looks like this here. That certainly would be a very mild winter month for sure. Month of February, firmly positive NAO driven, but I'm not necessarily buying into that, because there is a lot of good long range forecasters out there that are kind of showing the linkage between late season tropical activity, high latitude blocking during the early portion of the winter season. I do believe that is still a very real possibility as we go into the month of November on into December. But that's another story for another day. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.